Hello, everyone. In a groundbreaking move that's sure to ripple across the globe, King Charles III has officially ended all connections with his youngest son, Prince Harry. Any hope for family reconciliation or royal unity has been firmly laid to rest. The monarch's decision to remove Harry from all royal duties and public engagements marks a decisive and dramatic break, one that feels as shocking as the finale of a hit reality show. Once celebrated as a beloved figure of the British public, Harry now finds himself relegated to the fringes of royal life. The doors of Buckingham Palace have closed, leaving the Duke of Sussex outside, stripped of the titles he once carried with pride. This isn't just a family falling out. It's a pivotal moment for the monarchy itself. King Charles didn't come to this decision lightly. His words make the gravity of the situation clear. This is no longer about a father and son. This is about the future of the crown. For years, Harry and his wife, Meghan Markle, have clashed with royal traditions, challenging the very foundation of the institution and sparking endless controversy. Harry and Meghan have aired their grievances to anyone willing to listen. Their endless press campaigns, tell-all interviews, and selective storytelling have forced King Charles to take a firm stand. Harry's rebellious streak and Meghan's hunger for attention have steadily chipped away at the monarchy's credibility, leaving the king with no choice but to draw a definitive line. The couple's actions have fueled family drama and created a media circus, dragging the royal family's reputation through the mud. Behind the scenes, King Charles has reportedly endured countless sleepless nights, wrestling with this decision. The relentless pressure, amplified by each new media appearance from Harry and Meghan, has pushed him closer to making this painful but necessary choice. What weighed on him most wasn't rejecting his own son, but the fear that failing to act would compromise the institution he vowed to protect. His decision wasn't just about his role as a father, it was about safeguarding the future of the monarchy. And that future, it seems, no longer includes Harry and Meghan. An insider at the palace revealed that this heartbreaking choice wasn't made lightly, but Charles ultimately felt he had no other path forward. An insider, speaking on the condition of anonymity, revealed that King Charles was deeply disturbed by the couple's recent actions. From their Netflix documentary, which came across as more of a self-indulgent project than a genuine exposé, to Harry's pointed attacks on the monarchy in his memoir Spare, the king could no longer overlook the damage. His patience, though remarkable, had reached its limit. After years of being cast as the villain in Harry's story, Charles has finally decided to put an end to the ongoing saga. The decision is clear. No more royal privileges, no more attention. A firm line has been drawn, signaling that the king will no longer tolerate the chaos. Dr. Margaret Whitmore, a respected royal historian who has chronicled the family's highs and lows for decades, called Harry's transformation heartbreaking. Once a shining star of the royal family, Harry was celebrated for his potential as a future leader, with a genuine passion for charity and humanitarian causes. Now, he has become a symbol of the monarchy's struggles, a once promising prince who turned into a rebellious figure, challenging the very institution he was born into. Even those who once defended Harry have been stunned by his actions. "It's like watching someone destroy their own legacy," remarked Dr. Margaret Whitmore, emphasizing that King Charles's decision was vital for preserving the monarchy. Prince William, ever the loyal son, has reportedly offered his full support for his father's choice. While the rift with his brother may weigh heavily on him, William's loyalty remains firmly with the crown. He understands that the reputation of the royal family is on the line, and Harry's behavior is no longer compatible with the monarchy's future. The royal legacy must be protected, and Harry's actions are no longer part of that vision. This decision extends beyond family tensions. It sends a powerful message. The monarchy is not an open stage where anyone, no matter their fame, can exploit its name for personal gain. Harry and Meghan's relentless efforts to profit from their royal ties, while publicly criticizing the very institution that elevated them, have crossed an unspoken boundary. They have tried to position themselves as victims, but their actions tell a different story, one that ultimately undermines the monarchy and the values it stands for. While portraying themselves as victims, Harry and Meghan continue to enjoy a lifestyle most people can only dream of. Royal commentator Richard Fitzgerald didn't hold back, stating, "They've built an empire out of their grievances, but it's come at the cost of everything the monarchy represents." As the couple scrambles to maintain their media empire, it's clear they are no longer part of the royal fold. Any hopes of reconciliation have been firmly extinguished. King Charles has made his position clear. This is the end of their involvement in royal life. Their actions have finally brought consequences, and those consequences mean being entirely excluded from the royal world. The door is closed, and it's not reopening. The implications of this decision are significant. From major state events to national celebrations, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will no longer play a role. They are now officially irrelevant to the monarchy's operations. This new chapter allows the remaining working royals to focus entirely on their responsibilities, embodying the values of service, duty, and dignity that the institution is built upon. With Harry and Meghan firmly on the outside, the royal family can move forward, free from distraction, to uphold the legacy they've been entrusted to protect. Harry and Meghan appear to have forgotten what truly matters. Lady Victoria Worthington, a close confidant of the late Queen Elizabeth II, shared a sobering perspective on the weight of King Charles's decision. "Charles was always a loving father," she said, "but as king, his primary duty is to the crown. That has to come first. Though this choice may deeply pain him, Charles is doing what he must to secure the future of the monarchy. It's a harsh reality. Family loyalty cannot outweigh royal duty. Harry's refusal to honor the traditions of the monarchy has ultimately led to his exile. Across the UK, many supporters of the monarchy are breathing a sigh of relief. The endless media frenzy surrounding the Sussexes had grown exhausting. For countless Britons, the desire to see the monarchy move forward, free from the constant shadow of Harry and Meghan, has been building. There's a clear sense of fatigue and a collective hope for the royal family to shift the narrative. The drama and controversies brought by Harry and Meghan have become too much to bear. Now, at last, it seems the royal family is ready to move forward without them. The monarchy is ready to move forward, but the saga is far from over. Will this break finally bring the peace the monarchy so desperately seeks, or will it spark another wave of media leaks and shocking revelations? Rumors suggest that King Charles is prepared for whatever comes next. If Harry and Meghan escalate their campaign, the palace is ready to respond. The king's message is firm. No one, not even his own son, will be allowed to threaten the stability of the monarchy. For now, the remaining royals are standing strong. Prince William and Kate Middleton, with their unwavering commitment to royal duty, have become symbols of stability and grace. Their dignified approach has drawn a sharp contrast to Harry's increasingly erratic behavior. They represent the monarchy's future and serve as a powerful reminder of all that Harry has turned away from. This truly marks the end of an era. The young prince, who once carried his mother's legacy with pride and stood united with his family, has chosen a different path. one that leads him away from the royal family's storied traditions. The monarchy, however, remains steadfast, ready to embrace its future without him. The royal world is no longer a place Harry and Meghan can claim to be part of. If there's one thing the British monarchy has proven time and time again, it's that it will endure, no matter the drama that comes its way. As the monarchy moves forward without the shadow of Harry weighing down on it, one crucial question remains. How did it all come to this? How did the young, once innocent royal rebel become a self-styled victim of royal oppression, ultimately distancing himself from the very institution that made him? Let's be honest. Harry has taken what could have been a minor family dispute and turned it into an international spectacle. In doing so, he's guaranteed that he'll be remembered more for his chaotic behavior than for any noble cause. The world watched, captivated by Harry's public tirades against the monarchy, as his complaints reached new, dizzying heights. It all began with the endless "poor me" interviews, where Harry attempted to convince the public that his life was one long tragedy, a never-ending series of hardships at the hands of the royal family. Harry's endless complaints about a life full of hardships and betrayals, none of which were ever his fault, made it seem like he was trying to paint himself as the misunderstood hero of a tragedy. But here's the problem. No one, least of all the public, was buying it. Harry's constant gripes about the royal family, a system he was born into and benefited from for decades, began to feel increasingly hollow. How could anyone take seriously a man who claims to be oppressed while living in a multi-million-dollar mansion, attending lavish events, and jet-setting across the globe? And yet, Harry stuck to the same tired narrative. The monarchy is stifling. Me. The press is out to get me. I'm just a victim. But amid all his complaints, he failed to recognize one crucial fact. He was the one who walked away. No one forced him to make those choices. He wasn't exiled from the royal family. He chose to leave it. It wasn't the press that thrust him into the media spotlight. It was his own desire for fame and fortune. Throughout it all, he never seemed to pause and reflect on his own role in the situation. What Harry failed to recognize was that his very public escape from the royal family was an act of self-sabotage, one with consequences that would reach far beyond his personal life, impacting the institution that had supported him since birth. As time passed, it became clear that Harry's goal wasn't just to distance himself from the royal family. It was to craft an alternate narrative where he could portray himself as the rebellious hero. In this narrative, he was the man who stood up to the monarchy, exposing its flaws for the world to see. Sadly for Harry, this plan wasn't just naive. It was outright delusional. He seemed to believe that by flaunting his newfound freedom, he could present himself as a champion of the people, a courageous figure taking down an outdated institution. What he failed to understand was that the monarchy wasn't just some ancient relic. It was a symbol of stability, tradition, and national pride. If Harry thought he could dismantle it with a few emotional interviews and a Netflix deal, he was gravely mistaken. Harry's ill-conceived media campaign only served to highlight just how out of touch he had become. There's an undeniable irony in his situation. The very thing he tried to escape, the public spotlight, constant scrutiny, and overwhelming media attention, became the thing he craved most. His actions revealed a desperate need for relevance, one that far outweighed any desire for peace. Instead of stepping away from the limelight, he only plunged deeper into it, using every chance to stir the drama. From his rants about his family to his constant complaints about the media, it was clear that Harry wasn't seeking peace. He was seeking the kind of attention that would elevate his profile, regardless of the cost. In the end, Harry's strategy couldn't have been more misguided. The British public, traditionally loyal to the monarchy, grew tired of his antics. Each new interview, every fresh revelation, only seemed to deepen their frustration with him. What started as the story of a rebellious royal-turned-tragic hero quickly morphed into something else entirely. It became a tale of a man who couldn't figure out how to play the game and, as a result, became increasingly irrelevant. His efforts to position himself as the voice of reason amid royal chaos fell flat. The more he tried to reveal the truth, the more people began to question if there was any truth left in what he said at all. What was even more bewildering was the sheer hypocrisy running through Harry's entire campaign. On one hand, he claimed he was leaving the royal family to escape the pressures of fame. On the other, he signed multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix, Spotify, and other platforms eager to exploit his status as a former royal. So much for a life of privacy and peace. It wasn't that Harry wanted to escape the spotlight. He simply wanted to control it on his terms. And let's not forget Meghan, whose own career as a professional celebrity, fueled by endless victimhood narratives, only dragged Harry deeper into the circus. From the start, it was clear they were both chasing something entirely different from the peaceful private life they claimed to seek. Harry and Meghan's self-proclaimed mission to create change turned out to be nothing more than a marketing strategy, aimed at cashing in on their royal connection. But the real twist in this saga is how Harry seemed to underestimate the power of loyalty. In his quest for personal freedom, he managed to alienate not only the monarchy, but also the very public that once supported him. There's a certain charm to an underdog. But when that underdog becomes a man who can't appreciate the very institution that gave him his platform, the story starts to lose its appeal. Harry didn't just break away from the royal family. He shattered the trust that had been carefully built over generations. Now, as he finds himself on the outside of royal life, the question must be asked: what's left for him? What can a man who has burned bridges with both his family and the public hope to accomplish? Despite his self-assuredness, Harry has cornered himself into a world where the only thing keeping him relevant is his ability to stir up controversy. No longer the beloved young prince, he has become a cautionary tale, someone who allowed his ego and self-righteousness to guide his every decision, ultimately leading to his own downfall. Meanwhile, the royal family remains strong, united in its commitment to duty, tradition, and, above all, the stability of the monarchy. While Harry grapples with his fractured legacy, the remaining royals, especially Prince William and Kate Middleton, have risen as the pillars of the monarchy's future. As the monarchy moves forward, embracing their roles with dignity and responsibility, Harry and Meghan's abandonment of those values is starkly evident. The monarchy continues its unwavering path, while Harry remains caught in his own media circus, desperately chasing relevance in a world that has already moved on without him. King Charles III's decision to sever ties with his son has sent shockwaves around the world, making one thing undeniably clear. Harry's story is no longer one of rebellion, but of self-destruction. His pursuit of fame, fortune, and validation has come at the cost of everything that once connected him to something greater: the royal family. As the monarchy enters a new chapter, Harry must come to terms with the fact that the story he once believed was his to tell is now firmly in the hands of those who never needed to chase the spotlight. And let's face it, Harry has become an object of unintentional comedy, a royal cautionary tale that keeps giving. There's something almost tragic about a man born with a crown to his name, only to squander it all in pursuit of fleeting fame. Harry decided to throw it all away for a shot at fame, only to discover that the spotlight isn't nearly as bright when you're the one dragging the circus along with you. From the moment he announced his departure from royal duties, it was clear he was tired of the monarchy. But the monarchy wasn't done with him. The royal family may have learned to live under constant public scrutiny, but Harry couldn't wait to step out of it and create his own self-made spotlight. And honestly, his attempt to take the royal spotlight with him is as laughable as it is cringeworthy. He could have left quietly, and the world would have respected him for it. Maybe even admired his break from tradition. But no, Harry chose to turn his exit into a full-blown media circus, complete with tell-all interviews, self-glorifying documentaries, and enough leaks to keep gossip mills running for years. It's as if he couldn't just walk away from royal life without making a spectacle of it. Harry couldn't just walk away from royal life without dragging the entire family through the mud. His entire strategy seemed to rest on the belief that the public would see him as the misunderstood hero, bravely shedding his royal shackles to live a life of honesty and peace. But instead of a noble story, we got a glorified soap opera, starring a prince who wore his entitlement like a badge of honor, trying to pass it off as some grand crusade. And let's talk about his endless victim complex. Harry has become the personification of someone who gets everything they want, only to turn around and act as if they've been wronged at every turn. The royal family gave him a golden opportunity, a platform, connections, and a family legacy that most people could only dream of. But instead of showing gratitude or humility, he decided it was all too much. He wanted more. He wanted control of the narrative, not just in his own life, but for the entire royal family. Harry didn't just want to leave the royal family. He wanted to dismantle it from the inside out. He needed to prove to the world that the monarchy was corrupt, outdated, and oppressive. Of course, his timing couldn't have been worse, and his execution was even worse still. Every interview, every dramatic confession only made him look like the world's most spoiled brat. He seized every chance to complain about the royal press, the same press, by the way, that put him on a pedestal in the first place. Harry wasn't wrong that the media hounded him, but let's not forget the role the media played in elevating him in the first place. Harry acted as if he had no part in fueling the media frenzy surrounding him. His complaints about invasion of privacy seemed hollow when you consider that his very existence, his name, was made possible by the media machine that kept him in the spotlight since birth. The monarchy, after all, is a spectacle, and Harry was more than happy to bask in it until the attention became too much. But then came the final contradiction. The Netflix deal. Ah, yes. The search for privacy and normalcy, all wrapped up in a multi-million-dollar documentary deal. Nothing screams, "I need space," like a highly produced series documenting your private life, with cameras following your every move. Honestly, Harry's hypocrisy here was so glaring it could be seen from space. He kept complaining about the lack of privacy, yet signed contracts that guaranteed not just more invasions of his privacy, but also a public airing of every grievance. How did he not see the irony? Or was he so wrapped up in his own narrative that he couldn't even spot it? The moment everything shifted was when Harry and Meghan started using the monarchy's privacy struggles as their own personal stage for drama. They could have kept their royal ties private and dignified, but instead, they chose to make millions by sharing their truth with the world. Their memoirs, documentaries, and interviews were presented as revealing secrets, as though they were the first people to live a life under the spotlight. How noble! How brave! But, in reality, they were profiting off their royal status while convincing themselves, and maybe a few loyal followers, that they were victims. Meanwhile, the monarchy, which had survived centuries of public scrutiny and political challenges, was painted as the villain. This sense of entitlement is hard to comprehend. Now, let's shift focus to King Charles III's decision. It's one thing for a family to have internal issues, but it's a whole different challenge when the head of state finds himself caught in the middle. King Charles didn't make this decision on a whim. It was a long time coming. He explored every peaceful option he could to keep things civil. But once Harry and Meghan started airing their grievances in the media, the king had no choice but to take a stand. Just imagine how painful it must have been for him, watching his son, who once embodied the monarchy's values, turn into an angry, media-seeking version of a royal. The king had to act, and he did so decisively. Now, Harry might try to paint himself as the victim, but let's not be fooled. The monarchy won't tolerate anyone who undermines it. The real issue here is that Harry didn't just walk away from his family. He turned his back on everything the monarchy gave him, his influence, his legacy, and his position. Instead of valuing those gifts, he used them to create his own empire. It's almost hard to watch the drama unfold. Here was a man who could have been the face of a modern monarchy, a young, relatable figure who could balance tradition with the realities of today's world. But instead, Harry chose the easier path, turning every bit of royal privilege into a chance for personal gain. Now, he's on the outside, hoping for a place at the table he once knocked over. The monarchy moves on without him, and he's left scrambling for attention in a world that's already forgotten why he was ever important. What's most amusing about all of this is Harry's belief that he's the victim. He still thinks his so-called freedom was a noble, hard-earned victory. But the truth is simpler. He chased the spotlight, and now that spotlight has moved on. He tried to bite the hand that fed him, but it turns out the monarchy is quite good at surviving without him. It seems like the drama surrounding Harry and the royal family has reached its peak, but the monarchy will keep going strong, just as it always has. As for Harry, he'll continue to search for his place in a world that has already moved on. The Harry and Meghan saga might be coming to a close, but their story isn't over. Will they keep making waves, or will time fade their chapter from history? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story and want more royal updates, don't forget to like, share your thoughts, and subscribe for the latest videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.